what we expect to be an amazing occasion this morning. We've got some business to discuss related to incentive agreements related to the county and the town of Selma. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Lauder to see about an invocation.
Thank you, Mayor McAllister, and thank you for hosting us today. It's always good to be in Selma, and it seems like the more I'm in Selma, the more special occasions we get to celebrate. So I need to come more. As is customary for the commissioners, we will open with the invocation and a pledge. So if you would, and if you feel so led, please stand for the invocation. I've called on Commissioner Stevens to lead us in the invocation.
Dear friends, as we gather today, let us bow our heads in gratitude for the growth and opportunity that surrounds us. May this event be blessed with a spirit of progress, unity, and prosperity. Let our endeavors bear fruit, and may our community continue to flourish in abundance under your grace. Amen.
And Mayor Pro Tem Scarborough, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And with that, I'm going to call the Town of Selma special meeting to order.
And I will call the meeting of the Johnston County Commissioners to order as well.
If there are any opening remarks from the public, we'll take that now, take that time to receive opening remarks. All right.
And I will now open the public hearing and call on Chris Johnston to come forward and present a general summary of the project.
Good morning, County and Town of Selma leadership. Allow me to first recognize the passing of your colleague, my mentor, my boss, my friend, and friend of many, Commissioner Tony Braswell. This is the first meeting that I've been able to publicly pass my condolences along to the board and also to his family. I'll be ever grateful for his support of me in my role as the economic developer of Johnston County, a job that I've loved since day one and that I continue to love today. I'm confident that he's looking down from heaven with a big grin on his face because of today's project before you. He may or may not have his vape pen. I don't know if that's allowed in heaven or not, but it wouldn't be him without that. So now last night I was typing out this presentation, but when I read my morning devotion, I was hit with the verse of Ecclesiastes 5:2. Do not be quick with your mouth, do not be hasty with your heart to utter anything before God. God is in heaven and you are on earth, so let your words be few. Now, being few, I've just received a text about 5 or 10 minutes ago stating that our project team went to the county courthouse, and so that they were 7 minutes away as of 2 minutes ago. So they may be walking in. So I'll try to remain few, but I may have to drag this out. So if they walk in, understand that that they're coming. So at this time, allow me to begin with a quick walk down memory lane. Burlington Mills, Fieldcrest Mills, Channel Master, Eaton Corporation, Jared Spinning, Devil Dog, Flextronics, B&M Machining, K.R. Edwards Tobacco. These are just a few companies that during the mid-90s closed and relocated outside of the United States. Within a matter of 3 years, the Smithfield-Selma region and communities along the I-95 corridor lost over 6,000 jobs. When you add in Data General and Champion and Clayton, this figure exceeds a staggering 8,500 jobs during this time period. Now, not only did we lose meaningful employment opportunities for our citizens, but we also lost the important executives that were community and civic leaders, leaders who supported organizations such as the Kiwanis, the Rotary, JC, Lions Club, Boy Scouts, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you consider the population of Johnston County at this time, this was nearly 10% of our population, not our workforce, our population. With the labor shed here in Johnston County that exceeds 115,000 today, nearly 70% of our residents sadly have to get into their automobiles and leave our community daily to find quality employment. Our office has always lived by the motto that nothing empowers a person more than a good-paying job with a living wage, and it is because of the leadership, the vision, and the collaboration, our citizens will have that personal empowerment right here in Johnston County. Today, you have the ability to change, to change and make this happen, to make generational changes for the lives of the citizens here in Selma and Johnston County. It is Crystal Windows and Doors' desire to invest and build and create a facility located in the town of Selma. As with any economic development project, it is always extremely competitive with potential sites and facilities in other counties and states. In addition to the $96 million investment, and I'll let you soak that in for a second, a state-of-the-art facility that will be under the construction of ARCO Design Build, and Matt Hohorse has Thomas Chin with him in the car right now. The $96 million investment will be the largest in Selma's history to date. Crystal's Windows and Doors will also create approximately 500 new jobs with an average salary of $56,000. This is in addition to an incredible health coverage for their employees. As I've mentioned before to the citizens that have contacted the office and asked about incentives, I would like to reiterate to everyone here in attendance and tuning in on the web that any economic development incentive offer comes with no financial risk to the taxpayers. These incentives only come from the company's investment. This grant equates to a percentage of the taxes Crystal Windows will pay on the personal property portion of the $96 million investment. If the required benchmarks set forth in the agreement are not met, no incentive again. Again, this comes at no financial risk to the taxpayers and citizens of Selma or Johnston County. The return on investment is unbelievable when you put the agreement in perspective. During the grant period, the town of Selma is projected to receive and add to their tax base over $729,000 for the town during the grant period. After the grant period is complete, the facility will become the largest taxpayer for the town. For Johnston County, it will receive and add over $838,000 during this time as well. Again, new investment, no risk. As all economic development incentive grants, Project Clear has been vetted and approved by the Johnston County Economic Development Board, and many of them are in here today, a board that consists of 14 business, civic, and community leaders that represents every municipality in Johnston County. As customary, the project and investment projections have also been evaluated by Dr. Mike Walden, retired professor and economist for North Carolina State University. His reports show that the monetary investment, as well as the jobs and ancillary job growth, is projected to be in the millions annually for the county and our communities. As Jennifer Slusher, our county attorney, will cover, the project checks all the 4 legal statutory boxes with regards to offering an economic development incentive. 1, does it meet the job creation requirement? 500 jobs with an average salary of $56,000 is well above the county average. This is more than double for the town of Selma. Does it meet the investment threshold? Yes, $96 million far exceeds the county's policy of $5 million. Does it meet the competition with other locations? Crystal's Windows and Doors footprint stretches across the U.S. and was considering investing in other areas of the U.S. and in North Carolina. And does the project meet the diversification requirement? Again, with the loss of over 6,000 textiles and manufacturing jobs in the early 90s, the Smithfield-Selma region has long been lacking in manufacturing. So the answer to all these questions is an undeniable yes. And we respectfully ask that the county commissioners in the town of Selma consider the economic development grant presented before you and be awarded to Crystal Windows and Doors. Again, Crystal is only eligible after the project is completed and the requirements set forth in the agreement are met. Economic development is a team sport, and I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize several individuals and companies that assisted the county and the town for this opportunity. Now, I know I can get in trouble when you start naming names because I am confident that I will miss someone, and if I do, please accept my apology. But the staff would first of all like to thank the EDP&C staff. I saw Austin Rouse earlier, Miss Ellen Ty, who's no longer with the EDP&C, kind of started this project a year and a half ago. I saw Mr. Andrew Tate in attendance, but also like to thank Miss Donna Phillips, a dear friend of mine from the northeastern part of North Carolina, who assisted us with the Carolina Investment Grant Fund. We'd also like to thank the North Carolina Railroad for their Site Ready grant that was offered a year or so ago for this. Also NCDOT Rail for the rail spur. And finally, we'd like to thank Senator Bentensari and Representative Strickland, as well as our General Assembly delegation for their appropriations to the town of Selma that will assist in the rail spur design and construction. I'm sure there are others, but I want to be mindful of my devotional message this morning to let my words be few. So at this time, I'd like to call on Ms. Jennifer Slusher to present you with the legal language, as well as Town Attorney Chip Hewitt to discuss the project summary and answer any questions. I'll then step back to introduce Mr. Thomas Chin with Crystal Windows and Doors, invite him to make a few comments, and I hope he's here. There he is. Okay, I'll call on you in a minute, Mr. Chin. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, and members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to present to you the resolution for Johnston County for a proposed economic development incentive grant agreement for the project proposed by Crystal Window and Door Systems as described by Mr. Johnson. Prior to getting into all of the details of the documents, I want to take you through and refresh your recollection about what you're required to review and consider when making your determination. As Chris mentioned, there are some things that you need to think about. Number one, job creation. Number two, capital investment. Number three, competition. And number four, diversification of the economy. So keeping all of those factors in mind, I'd like to review the framework of the proposed incentive agreement with Crystal Window and Door Systems. This incentive grant as proposed is based solely on investments for business personal property. It does not include real estate investments. And while the total proposed investment is estimated to be in excess of $96 million, the incentive grant agreement requires performance commitments based on business personal property investments only, which is estimated to be $57 million. In order to receive the proposed incentives, the company is required to locate the facility in the Eastfield development, make capital investments of business personal property in an amount not less than $57 million, and manufacture and distribute the aluminum and vinyl window and doors that we've talked about. And while it's anticipated that the employment for this project will create 500 jobs, the minimum required employment is 206 permanent full-time jobs. And the reason for that number is because we want that job creation early. And that commitment is by December 2025. They will continue to scale throughout the project and build jobs throughout the project. These positions are well-paid positions, and the average salary is not less than $56,000. Like I just mentioned, like all industrial development projects that we deal with, the capital investments and the additions to the employment are going to be made over a period of time. The capital investment estimated date of completion is December 2027, and the minimum job creation, as I mentioned, is December 2025. The incentive proposal is a cash grant that is made in 7 annual payments, and those payments are anticipated to begin in 2028, and they will continue until 2023. And they're quantified and measured based upon the ad valorem taxes that are actually paid. And in this case, it's around, it's 70%, and we have estimated that for the county, that annual payment will be around $279,000 per year. If incentives are granted to Crystal Window and Door Center systems, they must provide a certification of those investments to confirm that, that everything that was committed to be done was done. And as Chris mentioned, the company does not receive any incentives until the investment and employment commitments are met. Grant payments are conditioned upon performance of the company, and there are additional conditions that are contained in the proposed agreement, which is one, that all ad valorem tax payments must be made in full. They must be current on all payments owed to the county. They must be current on filing all of their tax listings, have no current appeals with the Property Tax Commission regarding the valuation of the project site and its equipment, and have no violation or other obligations to the county. There's also recapture provisions within the agreement if Crystal Window and Door Systems does not carry out and maintain the terms of the agreement. And finally, considering the proposals for the incentives that have been presented, let's talk about the framework of the proposed agreement with what you're required to consider prior to deciding how you'd like to proceed. With regards to the job creation piece, the project provides a creation of substantial number of permanent jobs. In this case, there are direct job creation of not less than 206, with an estimated of 500 jobs with the average salary of $56,061. We had an economic impact study done by Dr. Mike Walden, and that study said that the private sector direct and indirect impact as a result of this investment is 920 jobs, and that's significant. The capital investment, you know, you're supposed to look at how does it increase the tax base. And the required capital investment for this project is $57 million, but when you add in those real estate investments, you're at $96 million. And according to the Walden report, the private sector annual operating impact, taking into account all of the direct and indirect induced impacts from the development, is estimated to be in excess of $169 million. Finally, we look at the initial but-for necessity determination, and but for the incentives that are being offered by the county and the town today, Crystal Window and Door Systems would not have chosen to locate in Johnston County. We were competing with several locations for this project. There will be a written agreement that governs this implementation. A draft of that agreement is attached to your resolution. And certainly this project meets the requirements of diversification of the economy because of the job creation and the increased tax base. There is a net public benefit that arises from these incentives. All of this is addressed in the Walden Economic Impact Analysis. And simply put, Crystal Window and Door Systems will bring jobs and additional private sector impacts to the county to meet all of the requirements that are required under the statute. The project and proposed incentives do meet all of the standards that you're required should you choose to approve it. And you know, we lawyers are not always great at keeping our words short and small, so I know that that was a lot. And Mr. Hewitt sends his regrets today. His colleague, Megan Clinton, is here today on behalf of the town of Selma.
Good morning. I'm Megan on behalf of Hewitt Law Group, and as Attorney Slusser has put with the incentive agreement, the town of Selma's incentive agreement is in unison with the county's. So to not belabor the points that were already mentioned, it is a Tier 3 incentive for the town of Selma, but all of the main points Ms. Slusser has already covered. So if you have any questions, just let us know.
At this time, it's a great honor to introduce Mr. Thomas Chien, the founder and chairman of Crystal Windows. And Mr. Chien, if you could step up to the podium.
Good morning, everyone, Mr. Mayor and Chairman, and Chris. I'm Thomas Chen from Crystal Windows. I come to America. I'm from Taiwan. I come to America in 1982. I started in Crystal Windows in 1990. Now we have 5 locations across the country. And to come to North Carolina, we did select many areas at the end. We feel Johnston County and also Selma City is the best for us. So we make decision right away. We have started to do that. And thank you for everybody's help. And sorry, I have language barrier, only a little bit English. But next time, I know when I come to North Carolina, I will improve my English. So especially, Chris is going to be my first teacher me more English.
So Mr. Chien, Mr. Chien, Mr. Chien,
yeah.
most of us are challenged with English as well, so you're right at home.
Oh, okay, thank you. I know I have many teachers here too. Not only Chris. Chris the number 1. All right. Okay. And also also thank you for giving us many financial support. And your investment will be paid back soon. Or we will work hard. We will try hard to do as more as we could. All right. So. Putting the banana package together, we're looking forward to being in the part of cement business community. So thank you for helping us. Thank you for letting us have opportunity to do business with your city. All right, thank you, Chris.
All right, I will ask the county commissioner any questions of Chris, Jennifer, Megan, Mr. Chien. All right, no questions from the commissioners?
And I will ask the Selma Town Council any questions for those that have just spoken to us about this project. All right, thank you very much. Are there any citizens present that would like to comment as part of this incentive agreement meeting?
And I would do the same for the county commissioners' public hearing. If there are any public comments, please step forward to the microphone.
And
Introduce yourself.
introduce name and address for the record, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Jeff Holt, Mayor of Pine Level, address 507 West Pine Street. And it's fortunate that I get to address both boards today because I have comments that I would like to direct to both groups relative to today's announcement. And I do wear both hats today. Not only am I here representing the citizens of Pine Level in my hometown, I'm also a business owner here in Selma and also in the ETJ area of Smithfield. So I'll direct my town-related questions, or not questions. I'm not here to ask questions and expect answers, but I will direct my comments first as it relates to the town of Pine Level, and then I'll segue into my business points. I guess I'd say first of all that having served as a town councilman and mayor in Pine Level for 30 years, I don't know how many of you in here can raise your hand and say you served as an elective office for 30 years, but I've lived in Pine Level for 60 years and served as a servant there in Pine Level for 30 years. And during all this time, the area that we're talking about that is being proposed for development, or will be developed, but being discussed today about these economic incentive grants, was in essence part of Pine Level. When the general statutes, the General Assembly established zoning in North Carolina years ago, and we towns in Johnston County participated, and we identified our ETJ areas as 1 mile outside our town limits. If there were areas or towns that budded, like Smithfield and Selma did, like Pine Level and Selma did, and you couldn't have a 1 mile to govern, for lack of a better word, we split the difference halfway. And the General Assembly, in their infinite wisdom, chose not to establish that ETJ line as a line in the sand, for lack of a better description, to protect one town from the development of other towns. I don't want to use the word encroachment. That sounds like an ugly word. But the ETJ, as we all, whether it be towns or counties, establish our long-range comprehensive land use plans, we include the ETJ as part of our long-range growth plans. And we establish zoning jurisdictions, and we target certain areas, whether it be for agriculture or business or residential or industrial, whatever the case may be. In the last couple of years, through the development of the Eastfield project and through the acquisition of various properties, the town of Selma's city limits has grown contiguously. Contiguous being the key. The General Assembly, General Statutes 160D, does not allow a town to annex within anyone else's ETJ unless it is contiguous. They can't satellite annex a piece of property inside one town's ETJ. So through various purchases and growths and whatever, we now have a puzzle, so to speak, with dots connected. And now, this piece of property we're talking about today, there's one tract of land between it and our city limits. One tract. And probably negotiations with those property owners to buy that. So in the near future, possibly, the town of Selma and the town of Pine Level will be separated by a city limit sign and not any type of extraterritorial jurisdiction to give us any control or management of development within that area, which we've always had. And that, in my opinion, is why I'm here to express the concerns of the 2,600 folks that live in Pine Level, thank goodness, a bunch of us, 2,600 folks, because now what used to be Pine Level is now Selma. And that's okay, because our legislature says it is. But in an area that has been traditionally agriculture or traditionally single-family homes, there are now, counted this morning on my way to work, almost 30 residences in that area that are either adjoin some of this property at some point, or a new road that is going to service this project is going to dump right into 70A, right in the middle of all these houses. That possibly was not a concern of the town of Selma when they were considering approving this annexation request. We were not, our town was not involved in these negotiations when annexation was applied for and considered. There are property owners that own property adjoining these recently annexed areas who tell me they never received any kind of notification that there was going to be a public hearing held just like today to discuss this. I had no idea this meeting was going on today until last Friday when, thanks to the clerk to your board, county commissioners, sent an invitation to me, as I'm assuming Chairman Lauder, she sent probably to all 11 mayors, because I think at your request we now receive invitations or notifications of any county board meeting, and also the agenda, so that if there is anything on that agenda that we have an issue with, we're invited to come and attend. So anyway, so in the 11th hour, you know, I'm learning about this project. So pulling my mayor's hat off a little bit, I have issues with that we weren't involved in this, that we weren't the good neighbors, or weren't considered the good neighbors that I thought we were. So that's the issue that I present before your board for consideration. And again, having sat where you're sitting for 30 years, I understand that the ship's left the port. Okay, it's sailing. we're going forward. This is a tremendous investment by this company, and I appreciate their investment. I appreciate the choice that they've made to locate here in Johnston County. Thank you for that. But I think there should have been some collaboration. There was certainly collaboration between the county and the town of Selma in these discussions and the developer, and here we are, you know, in the dark. But that's okay. I understand that. So now I'll put my business hat on. And I don't think I'm going to say anything that Mr. Johnston has not heard before. I don't think I'm going to say anything that Mr. Lauder's not heard before, or Mr. McAllister's not heard before, or many of you other county commissioners that's ever been in a meeting with me when we talked about economic development in the county. I'm not a big fan of this type of incentive. I'm not a big fan of us calling it economic development incentive grant. The word grant has been used half a dozen times this morning. You've reduced the tax payment that this company has to pay to our county for 7 years. I understand you wouldn't get any of that if that company did not locate there. I understand that. But I also understand that today is a big day in the life of 462 air filter manufacturers in Johnston County, because Thursdays in my business is payday. So my signature is going to be on 462 checks that's handed out today at noontime. And those 462 folks live here in this county. And they'll deposit their checks, they'll cash their checks, they'll spend their money right here in Selma or Smithfield or Pine Level or throughout Johnston County. As will, I'm sure, the 206 that this company has to meet, new hires, so I'm sure they'll spend their money here as well. But the $57 million investment and the reduction in the taxes that they will pay our county for that investment over 7 years is almost $2 million. And I can't help but wonder how many deputy sheriffs that could pay for, $2 million. How many teachers' salaries could be affected if the county had that $2 million. Mr. Hester, I don't know how many employees you have that work for the county, but I would think that the county is probably the largest employer in the county, maybe. How many employees you got? 1,500. Take $2 million and spread that out amongst 1,500 people. You know, you're going through your budget process right now, and all of our employees expect increases and raises and different benefits. And here's a company who is basically is exempt from paying the same 69 cents to the county per $100 valuation that I do. And I have an issue with that. And I felt that it was my obligation to come and express my concerns. The term grant to me means, hey, here it is, take it, use it any way you want to. But what this is, it is a reduction in their taxes that they will pay to this county by 70%. So here I am with 3 plants, 460 employees in this county, all of it invested out of my pocket. And every one of those folks that gets a check today, that money comes out of my back pocket for work that they've done, and I appreciate them. And I let them know all the time I appreciate them. But they may suffer as well, because without that $2 million that this company is going to pump into your coffers, then who picks up that slack? The next company? We get excited when we hear about new jobs, and I apologize to whichever one of the ladies it was that came up and wanted to put a job sticker on my jacket, because I felt that might be kind of hypocritical, I guess, a little bit for me to come here and talk about that and stand up here waving but jobs are very important to me, because like any other employer in this county during the COVID years, I struggled with keeping my lines going. And I think about this incentive offering to this company and others that have come before it. Amazon. How excited we are that Amazon is here. And just a few weeks ago, we had a big ribbon cutting over in Smithfield about Amazon. And that is an exciting time. They may hire 1,000 folks. But I think Mr. Johnston shared with us, there's 130,000 or so, employees in Johnston County. And our unemployment rate is like 3.4%, so most of them are working. But unfortunately, he says they're driving to Wake County every day. half of them are, I think, 50 to 60% of them are going to Wake County every day. And I just have a hard time believing that all those folks that are driving to Wake County to work every day are going to stay and work in an Amazon warehouse in Smithfield for $16 or $17 or $18 an hour. They're not going to do it. But you know who is? The ones that are working in my warehouse for $15 or $16 an hour. They'll drive across town for 50 cents or $1. They're not going to drive to Raleigh for $18 an hour. So that worries me, and it should worry any other, business owner here in Johnston County, that we are going to be competing for already, as I said, 3.4% is the only unemployed folks in Johnston County right now. Where are we going to get our employees? I think about this Eastfield, the whole development and the retail part. And I understand that there aren't incentives that go along with that. Chris, your group is for industrial and commercial and that kind of stuff. You don't really have grants or incentives or plans for retail. And there's going to be a tremendous investment. And I thank this group for your investment in Johnston County as well, for that. But I wonder how many of those 50 or 60 or 70,000 folks that are driving to Raleigh every day to work are going to go over there and go to work at Target or Old Navy or whatever those other ones are that are coming here that we're all so excited about. You know where those folks are going to come from? They're going to come from Walmart. They're going to come from the Carolina Outlet Center and those retailers over there. They're going to come from the other Belk's. They're going to come from the Dollar Tree. Now, they may not drive to Raleigh every day for those kind of wages, but they'll certainly cross I-95 for a different job. So who are those people going to hire when their employees move across 95 to the east side to take a job there? So anyway, I'm rambling. I appreciate your time, and hey, God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor Holt. Anyone else? All right, then I will ask Madam Clerk, do we have any, like we're getting signals from the guys in the back, any emails? Okay, no emails to the commissioners.
Did we have any emails that came in as part of this public hearing? Thank you. All right. I'm going to ask one more time, anybody would like to make comment as part of this public hearing? I do have a comment to add to the record as part of this public hearing. Yesterday we celebrated Selma's birthday, May 1st, 1867, and we heard from two gentlemen, Mr. Alro Gaskell and Mr. Neditayak, about a history here in Selma where we had 8 grocery stores, 2 theaters, and textile mills all over the place. And we had a population that was booming at the time compared to other communities, and we had lots of opportunity. I think getting back to our basic roots of what works is what we need to do. And I think we've forgotten that over time. I think it's obvious that we've forgotten that over time. With jobs comes prosperity. With prosperity comes good times. And with good times will come a booming Selma, a booming Johnston County, a booming North Carolina, and a booming United States of America. With that, I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and close out any comments as public hearing to make sure that we're good with that.
So moved.
All those in favor from the Town Council? Aye. Our public hearing is done.
All right, and I now will close the county's public hearing.
Are there any final comments, questions that the Selma Town Council would like to make outside of public hearing?
All right, now we'll turn it over to the commissioners. Any comments?
Well, from the Selma Town Council, am going to ask for a motion to adopt this resolution that we have before us, authorizing the economic development incentive for Project Clear.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We have ourselves a resolution in adoption of. Thank you very much.
All right, now I'll ask the commissioners the same thing. Any final discussion or a motion to approve the resolution authorizing economic development for Project Clear?
Mr. Chairman, I think the Mayor of Pine Level's comments were well thought out, and I understand where he's coming from. I guess, though, if I were a Ford dealership in this town, if everybody would welcome a new Chevrolet dealership coming to town except me. So I understand the competitive nature of that, and sometimes there's no perfect answer, but I live in Selma ETJ, and Selma's close to my heart, and I think this project, in the long run, all things considered, will be very good for the county and very good for the town. So I move to adopt the resolution authorizing economic development Project Clear.
I have a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution is adopted.
All right. Do you have any closing remarks?
So I do have some closing comments. Typically, I always like to talk about culture and opportunity, and today I want to talk about vision as well. And I want to thank the folks at Adventure Development for their vision for what was a patch of space over there for developing in Eastfield, and all of that is entailed. I want to thank the town of Selma for their vision that they have and where they're headed. This board, Chris Johnston and our economic development team, thank you for your vision and hard work there, and for Mr. Chin and Crystal Windows and Door Systems, thank you for looking at Johnston County, which brings me to the opportunity. We talked about job opportunities, and for Selma, the average income is less than half of what these jobs will be paying. So it's an opportunity. I think Chris mentioned generational change. So it's an opportunity for generational change for Johnston County, Selma, and even the surrounding areas. So I'm thankful for that. The other piece I want to talk about is the culture. And I know what we have in economic grants are enticing, but if it was not for the people, our workforce that we have, I don't think that Mr. Chin would be here if he didn't think the workforce was here. So I want to say thank you to the people who are always the most important thing of what we all do up here is take care of our residents in Selma and in Johnston County. I do want to thank some people who are here. Representative Larry Strickland, I know you'd mentioned him, but he's here. So Larry, thank you for coming and doing all you do. And we do have a representative from Senator Tillis's office, Trey Lewis, who is here. So Trey, thank you for coming and representing. And I think Mayor Holt is left. I don't know if, I hate to say missed other folks, but I do want to say we have the past chair and current chair of the Economic Development Advisory Board. So thank you guys, and if you would thank the others on the board there for all that you guys do. But I think with that, one more. As I talk workforce, I can't talk workforce without talking about Johnston Community College. And I think I don't see Dr. Lindquist. He must have had to leave. But I do want to thank Dr. Lindquist for what they do at Johnston Community College for preparing our workforce. So that is all I have to say, Mr. Mayor. I'll turn it back over to you.
I appreciate it. All those folks that Chairman Lauder just thanked, exact same here. I got to particularly give a shout out to Adventure Development, Kevin Doherty, Mark McDonald. Mark, you can call me at 5:30 a.m. anytime, you know it. Thank you. And particularly Chris Johnson, a rock star in this county. So if Chris calls me and says, I need you to be somewhere, the response is, what time and what color do you want my tie to be? Thank you. And again, all the folks that have come together to make what is happening in Selma and Johnston County happen. Let's keep rocking. Crystal's selection demonstrates that sound economic fundamentals are Selma's secret sauce when it comes to job creation and prosperity. The council welcomes this growing company and salutes the success that has led to this exciting expansion into our community. Thank you. All right.
Do you want to, I'll just look for guidance on this. So we have a couple of things to present. You want to do that now? Or you want to do it right after we adjourn? Okay, we'll do that. So I will look to this side of the table and ask for a motion to adjourn.
We adjourn.
All right, we have a motion. I'll take Commissioner Smith as the second there. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
I'm going to look this way and look for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? We're good to go.